So it was about a year ago, man, Loui, where you bought your first acoustic guitar. Well, we are back here at Replay Guitar Exchange again. You're ready for an electric.
Yep.
So we're gonna play some electrics today, and we're gonna see what fits Loui the best. We got Cliff here to help us pick out guitars and amps. You guys know Cliff here at Replay Guitar Exchange, good friend of mine. So I think the first thing we're looking at, I know normally you'd look at guitars first, but Loui here, he wants to be able to play, multiple styles of music. So we're actually going to look at the amp first, and then we'll get to the guitars. And we've got this Boss Katana amp down here. Cliff, why would this amp be probably one of the better ones for someone that wants to play multiple styles?
So this is a super versatile amp. If you look up at the top here, you'll see you got your input. That's where you'll plug your guitar in. But then you have all these different amp types, from acoustic, clean, crunch, which is really good for the AC/DC, like you were saying. Then you have lead, which is a little bit more aggressive, and the brown, which is super aggressive. Think like shreddy Van Halen. And then up top there's a variation button. So when you click that, it's an alternate type of each of these amps. So it's really all of those times two. You'll notice next to it you have a gain stage and volume. After that, it's an equalizer, so you have bass, mid, and trebs. So if you were like, oh, okay, well, it's just a little too bright, you would just take the treble down. Or if it's too boomy, just take that bass down a little bit. And you can really adjust your tone within each variation of the amp. The next section are all effects, and there's a ton of effects.
So Cliff, dude, we've got all these other amps. I mean, my eyes are, of course, drawn to that Boss Katana because I played through one. We've got it on video, by the way, from here. But we've got like the Orange, Black Star, Fender, Marshall, and what are some advantages to the Boss Katana as opposed, to some of these other amps you have?
So the Boss Katana, it's got all the effects built in. It's got different power attenuation. It's just got so many options. So if you're a fan of options and you're looking for a big arsenal, that's really where it's at. Like the oranges down there are really cool. Orange is my favorite company ever.
I love those sounds too, man.
Right, but if you wanted to have different effects, then you have to get the pedals.
Yeah.
And you have to get all that. So it's just a different thing. But just for somebody who's looking for everything in one, yeah, I think that the Boss Katana is the way to go. And not only that, like the quality of it, the sound, for the price, it's fantastic.
It's hard to beat that. And Loui wants to play different styles too. So he's if you're just a metal player or just a blues player or something, then we might draw him towards another amp, maybe a Fender or the Orange for metal. But I think oftentimes with amps, with a specific amp, you get a kind of a specific sound, right?
Think of it as all of those amps with a variation on top of them. So you get just a ton of different sounds.
And you mentioned effects too, like if you were to get something like an Orange amp, which I like the Orange as well, but you'd want to get, I guess, like maybe some delay in chorus or reverb or whatever.
You would have to get a pedal. Yeah, and then pedals can be, that's like $200 for a delay.
Yeah.
But the Boss Katana is $270 out the door with all of it.
With everything, yeah. So hard to beat that for what we're looking for. And guys, it's all about what we're not trying to sell you on the Boss Katana per se, but you have to understand it's all about what you're looking for. Even when you're and Louie's not really starting out. You've been playing acoustic for over a year now. Remember we were here a year ago getting his first acoustic. He wants to get into the world of electric. But he wants the versatility. He doesn't want to be limited to just metal or just rock or just blues. He wants the versatility. So that's why we're going with the Boss Katana for this. And again, the budget. We're trying to stay under $1,000 here for amp and guitar. So I think we pretty much nailed it with the amplifier. All right, so we've got our first guitar here, Cliff. This thing looks nice, dude.
So this is an Ibanez I would definitely recommend for you, because. Well, this is a Strat shape, a Strat style guitar, and then you have a single coil, and a humbucker here. So you get the sounds of both. You get the single coil sound, the Stratty, twangy sound, and then if you're over in this position here, you get the humbucker, that thicker, cool sound. That's going to be really good with rock, or metal, or anything. They all sound good. There's no rules. I say try it. On top of that, you have a roasted fingerboard. This is a maple fingerboard, and it's roasted, so it's real nice. Take a look at the back of it. It's contoured here, so when you're playing up here, I think there's probably some AC/DC songs, when you're playing up there, it's going to be more comfortable for you. And then a slick satin feel on the neck. So this is a really nice guitar for beginning.
And what I personally like about the Ibanez necks, I don't know if it's an RG or not, but I like that the necks are actually a little bit thinner. Now, neck, I think that's one of the more important things, along with the types of pickups, you know, having the humbuckers and single coils. But I think the neck is super important because it's all about the comfort, right? What fits your hands the best.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. And since you're just getting into the electric guitar, the thin neck is nice. It's just going to help you to move around easily, you know. Let me hold this one up.
All right.
So I got this one here too. It's a PRS. It's a custom 24 SE, which is the import line. This is a little bit more than the other one. Now that other one is pre-owned. This one's going for about $950, and it's different. It's got a different feeling neck. It's got the rosewood fingerboard with the bird inlays, 2 humbucking pickups. So they're both that full sound. However, down here there are these 2 little switch engagers, thingamajigs. That will make it so that it goes into single coil mode when you flip those on. If you're here and you flip that, it's going to go to single coil. And then you just have a volume and a tone knob. Check out what the back of it looks like. It's nice.
It's a very nice guitar.
But that would be a good contrast to check out too. I mean, both of those guitars are kind of in the same ballpark, you know? But just different. They're just different.
My first metal guitar was one of these. Well, not this specific model, but I had a Jackson many years ago. Long story about why I don't have that anymore. We'll save that for another video, but hey, these are cool guitars.
Or we could change that here. It's a lot of cool stuff.
So, Louis, what are some of your favorite tones? Like, do you prefer like a clean tone just to mess around with, or do you prefer a little bit of dirt on it, a little distortion?
Most of my songs I'm gonna play is probably clean, but once I get to like the rock, you know.
Okay, gotcha, Lola. Let me put it on clean for you. And then if I wanted to add a little reverb here for you, and a little delay. There you go. Sounds real nice. Real big and full. You hear that?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're in a room. So that's the reverb. And if I turn that delay up, it's going to be like an echo. So just hit something real quick. Hear it repeating. So that's your delay. You can also change that delay, because there's 3 different variations of that as well. I'm going to recommend that you just play both. See what you think.
Alright.
How do you feel about the PRS so far, man? I mean, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, you know, and for me it's pretty easy. This feels like my acoustic, really.
Okay,
like,
that's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's try the Ibanez. We haven't tried that out yet, and you'll be able to really compare the two and see what fits your hands best. So, Louis, how does the neck feel on the Ibanez to you?
I mean, I like it. I think I'm gonna go with this one over the other one just because I like how it feels when I move down.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's, for me, like, it's just easier to switch the chords.
So it fits your hands a little bit better then, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing we were talking about earlier. We're talking with Cliff over here about the necks. You know, it really is a to each their own. Like, some folks like the thicker necks. Some people like the thinner necks, which this typically has a little bit wider fingerboard with a thinner neck. So it's all about preference, and that's why we had Louis play a couple of different guitars here to see what felt most natural to him. The guitar real quick, just to make sure he's getting a good one. I know he's getting a good one, but I've got to pick him.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, so
Check out what he does, Lou.
we'll get some new strings as well. All right, let's find the metal channel here. So that guitar plays nice. I like the fingerboard on this guitar. Maybe slightly more, but again, the Ibanez, like for me, and it sounds like for Loui too, is a little bit easier to play because of the way the neck feels. And that's just, end of the day, that's just a preference thing. You got to play what feels most natural, most comfortable to you. Loui has chosen his new guitar, the Ibanez. Feels good, plays good, sounds good, man. So, dude, I'm so proud of you for making this step. I mean, hang on to your acoustic. Don't get rid of that.
I will.
Yeah. So keep playing that because we love acoustic as well. But no, this is a good, very nice guitar. And I wouldn't really say this is even a beginner's guitar, guys. I mean, this is, I'll put the model below here on the screen. But it's not like the Geo models, which there's nothing wrong with those. Those are great beginner's guitars. But this is more of a middle of the road, kind of a mid-grade guitar. When you're, Louie's not really starting out, right? I mean, you've been playing for over a year, so you kind of know what you're doing. You're jumping into electric. With the guitars, I don't want to say price is important, but, the type of guitar, how it plays, how it feels, how it sounds, you don't want to get something that's uninspiring, if that makes sense. And I think Loui can play this and be inspired by his progress with this. So, yeah. Good choice, dude. And we're also getting the Katana amp as well.
Up front for whatever goodies. And here is another one. And then I have a trim arm here.
We got the whammy and the gig bag here.
And then a bigger pocket here, okay? Alright, let me go ahead and get that guitar in there for you.
And they
We're rock and rolling.
They make gig bags so much better these days, man. They're like
Oh,
the old days of gig bags,
Not flimsy.
I'm recommending Elixir strings for Loui, the super lights here. He wants the ease of playability, and you guys know I've been using these things for decades now. So I'm really excited for Lou here. He's got his guitar, he's got his amp, he's ready. We're gonna change strings on the guitar, slap those Elixirs on, but it's a pretty cool day. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and hey, drop a comment. Make sure you like this video if it helped you, or if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And as always, I'm trying to do my keep it metal sign, but I got this string winder in my hand, but you guys get it. Keep it metal. See you on the next video.